Artificial intelligence is not a new concept in golf, but rather than it being used to make £600 golf equipment that may require you to do this, what if the everyday golfer could use it to build a perfect custom golf set for a similar amount of money? How accurate is this supercomputer? And if good enough, will it put an end to our final resting place every time we upgrade our bag? The bigger question is, if this technology improves and gets better, more advanced, does that mean the club fitter is then made obsolete? But considering the robots haven't taken over just yet, I challenged Chat GPT to build me a beginner golf set for £600 to see if it could keep within budget and, most importantly, recommend clubs that would actually suit a beginner. And to be honest, I'm stunned with the results. It's no secret I'm a big fan of second-hand equipment, so much so I actually built a business around fitting for them. And when you start this game, it's like having a massive jigsaw puzzle laid out. Driving the ball, putting the ball, chipping the ball, irons, and the longer you look at your golf game, the more you try and convince yourself, surely there must be a piece completely missing altogether. And it certainly doesn't help that there's a lot of big brands out there convincing you that they have the £600 piece of the puzzle that you're missing. So therefore, we have a choice to make when we get bitten by the golf bug. Test and try multiple golf clubs off eBay with a bit of research and quite a bit of tinkering, or get fitted for something new and shiny and pray that your swing doesn't improve or change to make that new toy completely useless. Now, you might have heard of Chat GPT or a similar AI by now, with the main negative focus that is helping kids cheat on their homework. Thank goodness we didn't have things like this when we were young, or if you're a slightly older viewer, probably something like this. But just like every tool, it's completely useless unless you know how to use it. For example, I gave it a basic question for this video and got a very basic answer back. But I want to glimpse into the future, not only build a budget beginner golf bag for this video, but with cameras, AI and the internet, how long will it be until we have an app that not only fixes our swing in minutes, but recommends equipment on any budget? But it does remind me when GPS for cars first came out and people followed them blindly into the middle of a lake. The only strength of this tool for golfers going forward is if the information is close to 100% correct. Otherwise, we'd be in a situation of wondering why MP67 Mizuno irons are shot up in price in the second-hand market, and with hundreds of 28 handicap golfers having them in the bag. Which brings me on to price. I gave ChatGPT the task of £600 as I thought that was a good starting point and a relatable budget for most beginners. But can it pinpoint the right prices for where the second-hand market is? Will it just sell you a dream of a great bag for £600 for you to only wonder why you can't get a full set of P790s for 150 quid? And to put a spanner in the works, I asked for some alternatives, more expensive alternatives. Can it distinguish between price, brand, model, and for the sake of £20–30, can it give me something that's just overall better? So big thank you to the boys at Replay Golf that let me head down there, rummage through all of their golf clubs and build ChatGPT's beginner 600 bag. But first, let's look at the expensive alternatives and let me know in the comments down below, would you have gone with the expensive version of this bag or stick with the one that I have with me on the course? It was a strong start for the expensive alternative TaylorMade M2 driver. It prices at £150, which, as I show you from recently sold, is pretty spot on, if not slightly higher. Cobra F9 fairway wood, which was very popular model back in 2016, was its second expensive alternative. It was priced pretty accurate as well, but personally I do feel it's a bit overhyped, and the fairway that I've got in the bag here I think is a much better alternative. Lastly, to complete the wood section, it recommended the TaylorMade M4 Hybrid, and right from the get-go I was quite impressed that it would distinguish between the forgiving heads of a model and obviously the more player version. What I would have loved right from the beginning is more loft. It did recommend 3 woods for both options, which I think is just too little loft for a beginner, but you could also put that down to I didn't really ask it, therefore I didn't really get an answer. We go back to TaylorMade for the more pricier option, and it chose the TaylorMade M6s. Overall, I think there's better alternatives in this price bracket than the tailor-made M6s, but it's nice to see not only is it choosing different brands for different clubs, but it's choosing different years. We've been recommended the M2 driver, we've been recommended the M4 hybrid, and now the M6 irons, which to be honest is a good price for what they are. So if that was the expensive version of this golf bag, what did it recommend me for the cheap one? And we will be totaling this up to hopefully hit the £600 budget. We've recently sold on eBay. See if Chat GPT was just getting our hopes up. Not in my wildest dreams would I have ever picked this driver, but it's a great choice. Loads of weight at the back for forgiveness, adjustable, looks good. Callaway overall is obviously a great brand, and they don't do that great in the second-hand market, meaning you can get quite a lot of golf club for not really spending that much money. Oh my, that is high. Now I have a light flex shaft in this driver, so it's gonna go high, but high is good for a beginner. We want launch, we want spin, because let's be honest, that's gonna help us find more fairways. I personally wouldn't have picked this driver because I completely forgot about it altogether. But if I've forgotten about it, so would have a lot of other people. The strong start gets stronger. Number one, it recommended Cleveland, and number two, it chose the CBX. The only downside is it did say you should get a set of these for £90, which is possible, but a bit optimistic. But the reason I love this for the beginner, look at that sole, thick, loads of bounce. Very much like the cavity back irons you would have in your set. You're not going down to a Vokey blade. That, let's be honest, most beginners would go straight underneath. But with this bad boy, we can get steep, we can go with the leading edge. It's going to help that beginner golfer to get out most of the danger. Apart from the driver, it's almost like I was building this golf bag myself. Ping G400 was its alternative, cheaper version, which sadly just isn't the case. In good condition like this one here, we're talking upwards of £100 very comfortably. But I love a Ping G Series fairway wood for most starters because it's thin top to bottom and wide from left to right, meaning it's going to get the ball up and it's going to be forgiving of here and here. But if you did want a £90, £80 version, go Ping G Series, or maybe go a bit older, G30 if you don't want to spend as much money, and go 5 wood, regular flex. Oh, I love it. But I can't knock its choices and brands, from Callaway with the driver, Cleveland with the wedges, and now Ping in the fairway wood slot. So what did it recommend in the hybrid bit? The fairway off the tee went too far, meaning we got to dial it back a bit if we want to use this bad boy. Titleist H1 818. Priced it pretty well as well. These struggle in the second-hand market if they don't have a £120 shaft in them, that is. I picked this one up from Replay mainly because it had the 23 degrees loft, which is the important bit for a lot of beginners. Titleist overall, great brand, and if you want to go back to the 816 or even the series before that, you can pick these hybrids up for £40–50. And hopefully you're starting to realise why I'm stunned with the choices that the AI has brought out for today's video. Oh, be good. Stay on that line. Oh, we are pin high, boys and girls. Obviously, we've got to touch the price element at the end of this video, but in terms of models, it's choosing all the forgiving models. It's potentially choosing all the forgiving brands in that year and that model, which is the most impressive bit. Could be a complete coincidence, and maybe we should do a completely different video for, let's say, a low handicap golfer. But apart from a few tweaks, I'm struggling to see where I could improve the choices here. Oh, maybe not pin eye, straight out the back. Not only out of the back, out of bounds as well. Can't believe in that bad boy here. Which lastly brings us on to the cheap alternative irons. And there is a bit of a theme between the expensive one and the cheaper version that I've got here. Yeah, that'll do nicely. Every year a brand will bring out obviously a new driver. Well, let's be honest, most of the marketing goes into, and a lot of brands will then create a hyper forgiving offset cavity back iron to obviously match that driver. If you're starting the game and you've got the bug, you've probably gone and bought. But apart from the name and the badge changing on these cavity back irons year to year, not really much changes. It's offset, it's cast, not got the most expensive materials, but let's be honest, a beginner's not going to notice the slightest bit of difference anyway. Which means when you get these mass-produced offset cavity back irons, which most beginners outgrow within a couple of years anyway, whether it's an M6 or these Rogues, they go relatively cheaply after 4 years of being produced. Now I'll put the total down the right-hand side of averagely sold prices of all of these on eBay. And to be honest, I'm impressed. I'm looking forward to seeing what this means in the future when it comes to golf AI, golf technology. But we briefly touched upon wedges. These are forgiving, these are cheap, these are good, but maybe you're looking for something a bit more skilled, a bit more precise, a bit more unique. And if that is the case, this video up here on the right-hand side. Catch you guys later.